Good evening and welcome. Today is International Overdose Awareness Day, and today is also our fourth annual vigil here in Norton for overdose deaths. We do this to draw awareness and also to help reduce the stigma of death from drug overdose. Tonight, our program, we will hear from 4 people who are in recovery. We will listen to their insights and their perspectives. We will listen to a gift of music, and then we will read the names of 204 precious souls who have lost their lives to this terrible illness. First, we will hear from Jerry.
Hello, Jerry, person in recovery. My sobriety date is June 9th, 2016, and I wanted to say thank you for asking me to be able to share some of my story here. It's much appreciated, and I was actually caught by surprise because I thought Doug was going to be before me, so I thought I had a little bit of a prep time before I started to go on, but it's okay. So I mean, what I could say is for me too, is like much of my story is that I came from humble beginnings. My family was like really taught good moral values and good appreciation. We were built very high on family. So it wasn't like I came from like a terrible upbringing in the sense to where is what led to my drug and addiction. What really I could say for me is I fell into the beginning of alcohol and marijuana in high school, and usually I was doing that just to try to fit in. When I was in school, I was more known back then as like one of those daydreamers. You know, I would always like daydream and venture out. So I always never felt like different kind of from my peers and people around me. So I started to use alcohol and marijuana just to kind of fit in with people or fit in with the crowd. And usually it was also to subside like a lot of my depression and anxiety. I didn't think I was knowledgeable enough for school. So I kind of left at an early age of like 16. And I kind of fell into a crowd. Like I said, my family was great moral upbringing, but I fell into a crowd that was more into troublesome things. And it's where I felt that I fit in. And then years go past by later, I ended up having a minor back surgery that led me to take prescription pain medication, which was Percocets and things of that nature. And then when the Oxycontin kind of epidemic hit, I fell right into the system of that as well. And then from there on in, it was just a progression of heroin use and a lot of other substances. I went on many years where I was hurting people that I loved physically and emotionally, and it wore down on me deeply to the point that I didn't feel I deserved to really be a part of their lives. I know it got to like a tragic moment that even the fear that I induced into like my mother and my father and my family was that they thought one day that they would just end up finding me dead. You know what I mean? And like, I couldn't imagine that kind of emotion or putting that on somebody that cares deeply for you. So I went on like at least 18 years where a lot of people in society and everyone else would have gave up on an individual like myself. There's no reason now where I can't tell you that why I'm here today or that I'm not locked up in prison for the remainder of my whole entire life. But what I can tell you is it just got to a point where I felt that I needed to change. And I can't give like a specific moment, but I can tell you that there was a culmination of people and treatment facilities and things that kind of had a piece in that. When I was about 35, I decided that I was gonna try to make a change. I tried to do that at-home detox a few times. I would make it about a month. There was probably multiple times I'd wake up with panic attacks and thinking I was dying in my sleep, which I was probably slightly having overdoses time and time again. and I never really told anybody about it. I kind of would just like fight through it. And then like my crazy thinking at that time was just to be able to use more substances to subside the pain and just pass out and go to sleep. The the thing that I actually decided to do is I was willing to make a change. I called and searched for a bed at a program out in Westboro. I took a chance to make a change, and things started to happen from there. I was still a broken and beat up individual. I got into this program. I started to meet people and individuals. There was the case managers and the counselors that I had there that they were really trying to motivate me, and they were talking about maybe you should think about working on this side of the field because you have a lot of good insight and you look into your depression and your anxiety and maybe you could help some people out. And it wasn't a thought in my mind at that time because realistically I was in survival mode on that week forward. It's just like I just wanted to be able to stop using because I was at a point where I didn't even leave my home other than to get the substance I need, and then I'd go back in. I wasn't showering for weeks. I was just a broken shell of an individual, and I was in just a lot of pain and I was really hurting people. I got into this treatment facility, and then I would hear a lot of people that came in here that was talking with meetings, and a lot of people that were working there that was teaching me different type of coping skills and learning how to be able to kind of adjust to life. And it took a little while, but then I had a good positive influence of a friend of mine that was in recovery for up to 7 years, and I seen all the changes he made and the evidence of seeing somebody change their life and being willing to put the work in to make that happen. It gave me the slight motivation I needed. After that, like I kind of, I detoxed. I moved into a family member's house where I could just be a present body that was there. I really couldn't offer much more than that. I started to actually get into like my education. I started to go into an adult learning program, trying to get my GED. And this was all at like 35 years old, from a person that left at 16 and think that he couldn't accomplish anything because I thought that I would just die being like kind of like a street kid or just not amount to much of anything. And I met this teacher. It was funny because she was actually my middle school teacher. And she was the first person when I was in there, my GED, and she kept motivating me, say like, you're smarter than this. You're smarter than what you settle yourself for. And she was like, do you want more? She's like, I'm willing to be here and help you. And then all of a sudden, the director of that program asked me if I'd write for their school newspaper. Then all of a sudden, they asked me to basically do a whole story on my life and my situation that would go to like the governor's cabinet and the governor's board to kind of kill the stigma around addiction and how these people's lives could change. And these are the small things that started to motivate me. And then from there, it was just like, gaining a license back, and then also starting to get into like college, and which I thought I would never be in college. And the professors in there, they continue to motivate. I had mentors in the field of the industry that I work in that really showed me how to be able to help other individuals in addiction. And what came down to the point was I found purpose in being to help other people that are suffering from the same disease that I am. And that every day will be a progress, but I just found peace and joy in being able to help these people. And that's where I can say to like all the like first responders and the fire departments, all them, keep knocking and keep saving these people, because you never know when that opportunity for them to change will happen. I was one of these individuals that I thought everybody gave up on. And then when I decided to make this change, and then all of a sudden, these people that were around me that showed me so much support, so much love, and made me believe in myself when I never thought I could, was the things that really sparked everything over time. The relationship I have with my family now is by far to none and changed completely. I tell this story a lot because the closest one was my sister, where I had to like really apologize and tell her I was sorry for a lot of the things I did, that I felt I did. And then she, and she's a real tough individual, this one. And she just told me that, all the things you're apologizing for didn't really bother me. What bothered me the most is that I had to use you as an example to my kids of what not to be. She was like, it hurt me that I felt like I lost my brother. And that really touched me, and it really like sank in deeply, to where it's like I seen what the effects of my using had done to my family. And now today, you know, from that person that was lost to that is like, I feel that they can come to me for advice sometimes. They come to me and I can be there for them. I'm reliable, and I do the best I can to be able to help individuals and my family included. And I would have never imagined that possibility of me being able to do that. And it's all through, like, you know, a lot of the work that I've done over these years, and I still got a lot more work to do, because like the promise I made is that for the remainder of my life, I'm going to stop hurting people and I want to start helping as much as I can. So when I'm asked to speak at overdose vigils like this one, or if I'm asked to speak at a meeting, or if I'm asked to do anything that's going to benefit and build on the life of another individual, I'll do that, because that was the same thing that the people that I came across in my life did for me. So what I can say to the families is, I know it's difficult, I know it's hard, but don't give up. Just try to seek them the best help that you can possibly do. I know my family now is, can I say, is now proud of me, and it makes me proud to know that. And all the people out there that are still sick, man, there's still opportunities. You are loved. Please don't give up. Seek the opportunities out there available to you for you to be able to make that change. And the people out there, like I said, the first responders, the medics, whatever else, keep knocking and them, keep bringing them back, because you never know the life you might save. I want to thank you guys for letting me come out and share today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm busy.
Hello,
Hello.
Doug or Mark?
Doug, I think, Mark, I'm going to go right now if you like.
Okay.
All right. All right. Like Jerry said, I'm Mark. I am an alcoholic and addict in recovery. My sobriety date is 2013 of September. The reason I say that, and I tell you my sobriety date, is because I just want people to know that this can be done. This is, you can reach your goals in recovery, absolutely. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I started. I started growing up, grew up in Dorchester. I had a loving family. I have 3 siblings. I'm the one that unfortunately has gotten the isms. My parents were very loving parents. You know, school was good. You know, I started doing a lot of drinking when I was in school. Probably at the age around 14, I was drinking quite a bit. And that quickly changed over at the age around 16, 17 to opioids, which, you know, was the Oxycontin, the Percocets. I picked those up, and I didn't pick them up from a doctor. I picked them up off the streets, because it was all over the place on the streets. I wasn't forced into doing anything. I just wanted to fit in. I hung around the local bar at a young age, around 17, 18. The local bar, you just stay in the back of the corner. You don't say anything, keep your mouth shut. And that's how it went. That's where my father drank. That's where I drank. That's where my brother drank. That's where I got into a lot of drug problems. You know, that quickly changed quite a bit after that, around 18, 19. You know, I was really, really heavy into opioids. Every day I had a really bad $500 to $600 habit a day. You know, and that just took me out of my element. It actually put me in where I wanted to be. You know, I was the type of person that wanted to be in charge, wanted to be running things. And that's what it gave me. It gave me that opportunity to be a different person. And I ran with it for a long time. You know, at the age of 21, when I started, you know, couldn't find the opioids that I was looking for, I quickly turned over to heroin. You know, heroin was all over the place. It was cheaper, it was faster, and that's when things really, really started going down really fast. You know, I was living in my car, unregistered, uninsured, no gas, in Dorchester, on a beach, not showering, like Jerry said. I wasn't showering for weeks. I had no means for it. You know, my family actually, at that point in time, they tried to help me so much, and I was just hurting them. And the things I was doing to them, they had every right to, you know, to say, hey, listen, don't come by this house. They wanted nothing to do with me at that point, but they wanted to help me, but they couldn't help me. They really just couldn't help me. You know, at the age around 28, 29, I was in and out of detox constantly. Just going in, doing a spin dry, not listening. I didn't listen to nobody. Nobody could tell me what to do. I was the person in charge. I knew what I was doing. I'm going to do this a little bit different this time around. Yeah, that didn't work for me. Let me tell you, that didn't work at all. So, you know, as time was going on and I'm sleeping on people's couches, people are throwing me out of their house because they want nothing to do with me. It got really bad. I was living on the streets. I have a 21-year-old son right now. And, you know, at the age of around 12 years old, he sent me a text on the phone, you know, and he said, you know, you're a really good dad, but you're a really lousy father. That hurt. You know, that really, really hurt. And I had to take a good long look at myself. You know, I'm in my 30s. I'm couch surfing. I have nothing going on for myself. So I desperately was seeking help. So I reached out to a friend of mine who's been in recovery for quite some time. And I asked him if he can get me into a detox. And he said, absolutely, Mark. He goes, I'll call right now. Now, this is at 6 o'clock in the morning. He came and picked me up at 8 o'clock, 2 hours later. He said, I'm coming to get you. Took me to Brockton Detox. Opened the door, kicked me out. I went inside. And that's where my life changed. My life changed in detox. And unfortunately, for my life to change in detox, it took for somebody to die from an overdose, for me to realize and take a hard look at what was going on. When I seen all the staff, because there was one of the staff members that had passed away from an overdose, and everybody was crying, and I just got overwhelmed. They say it's a spiritual awakening. I had a spiritual awakening, and I took a hard look at what I was doing, and I said, I need to change. Something had to change, and that change was me. I had to change. I had to listen to people. I had to take direction. I had to do something different. And, you know, I got to talking to some counselors there, and they offered me further treatments. And me, the person I am, thinking I know everything, I'm like, you know, what could you possibly offer me for further treatments? And they said, Mark, you know, let's get you into a halfway house. And I'm like, you know, I'm thinking halfway house. I never thought about it. I thought it was for like criminals, people like that, but no. They said, this is for people that want to go into further treatment. And quickly, some houses came up, Gavin House in South Boston. I was supposed to go there, but I quickly changed that because that's where I'm from. I'm from that area. I think I needed to make a change. I need to stay away from that area. And my counselor said, what about the North Cottage? I said, you know, all right, North Cottage. Well, what's the North Cottage? It's not a little place, but it's a place in Norton. I'm like, Norton? I'm from Dorchester. Where's Norton? They said the Xfinity Center. Well, not the Xfinity Center. It was Great Woods at the time, actually. And I said, I know where that is. I've been to many concerts there. So I stayed in CSS. I went quickly out to New Bedford to a TSS. I was out there for almost 93 days. And things started changing for me at my time at the TSS. That's where I started to really clear up. And I started to open up and talking to people. I looked at it this way. I said, I have to talk. I have to reach out to people that can understand what I'm going through. And they did. I fit right in. I didn't believe it. I'm like, wow, I fit right in with everybody here. And quickly my time was up at the TSS, and I went to the North Cottage program. And I went through the TSS. I went through ITP, which is the intensive treatment program at the North Cottage program. And, you know, I stayed. I listened. I did what I was told. And I quickly was graduated over to the halfway house, and then I was hired there as an employee of the North Cottage, and I've been there since. The operations manager for the place, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But, you know, like Jerry was saying, you know, reaching out to people, I feel that God has put me in this position to reach out and help other people. That's what he wants me to do. He wants me to help somebody. And there's nothing more rewarding than helping another person, whether it's an alcoholic or an addict or somebody that's just suffering from a disease, whether it's mental illness, whatever it is, just to reach out and talk to them and try and help them. If I can reach out and tell somebody about my experience and what I'm going through and how I got here, and I could possibly help them to save their own lives, that's what I'm going to do. I have no problem doing that. I could never speak to anybody. Now you can't shut me up. I just want to talk. I want to help people. And that's what this is about, reaching out and helping people before it gets to that, if you know somebody that's suffering out there and hurting, reach out to them, try to help them, do the best you can. That's all you can do, and like I said, it took for somebody else to take that step into the afterlife to help me. And I feel that it helped me, So if you know somebody that's out there that's suffering and hurting, just give them a call, talk to them, make a phone call. If they want to go into detox, there's plenty of numbers out there. Just go on the website and just look for detox in the area, and you can reach out. My life has totally changed. My life changed the day that I walked into that detox, the day that I surrendered and I said, I am done. I have a problem. My problem was that I was an alcoholic and addict, and I had the disease of addiction, and I had to face that. So the stigma around it, I didn't care about it no more. I shouted out to everybody, yeah, I am an alcoholic and an addict. I really am. But that's who I am, and that's just what I'm doing. I'm in recovery, though. I'm recovering, and I'm moving forward. So if you know another alcoholic and addict out there, I ask that you reach out to them, please. Whether it's making a phone call, sitting down with them, having a cup of coffee, whatever it is. If they don't want the help, there's nothing you can do about that, but at least you can try. So I ask today, if you're out there, reach out to another alcoholic or addict, somebody that's suffering from mental illness, whatever it is, just reach out and try and help them. Right? So that's it, folks. I hope Doug's going to catch up and do something better here, Doug. All right. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Hey, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. My name is Doug, and I guess since in the last 30 plus years, I haven't spoken about any time without saying I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict in recovery. I was a drug addict before I was an alcoholic. There were 10 years where I didn't drink at all. I just took drugs. And I took drugs as a way of life. I used to tell myself I didn't sell drugs. I used to buy drugs for other people. They would give me money, and I would find them the best quality drugs I could find, of which I would keep some for myself. And I justified that as I'm not really a drug dealer. I'm just providing a service. And I provided that service for a long time. My drug of choice is methamphetamine. And at some point, I had a child, and I used to say that the reason that I stopped taking drugs as a way of life was because my son was born. But the truth is, that's not the reason. The reason was I couldn't make my turn, meaning I couldn't sell enough drugs to buy enough drugs to take enough drugs. So I left New York City, went and got a straight job, and I immediately started drinking. And I never thought alcohol was going to be a problem for me. Right from the beginning, I drank alcoholically. I would drink, I would go into a bar, I'd order a double Jack Daniels straight up, double Jack Daniels on the rocks, and double Jack Daniels on the rocks. Point being, I was looking to get to a particular point, and 3 doubles used to get me to that point in the shortest period of time. And I did not think that there was anything wrong with that. I did not think there was going to be any problem with that. After 3 years of doing that, pretty much drinking around the clock, I found one day when I went to work in the morning and didn't have anything to drink, that I started to go into withdrawal. And even at that point, I didn't think there was anything wrong. I had been in prison before because of drugs. Now here I was an alcoholic, and I could buy alcohol legally. It was cheap. And for another 2 years, I maintenance drank. I had alcohol with me all of the time. It's just what I did. But alcoholism is a disease that at some point, the things happen to all alcoholics, become unemployable. I ended up throwing a trash can through a liquor store window in Central Square in Cambridge, crawling in through the broken glass, taking 2 bottles of scotch and walking down the middle of Mass Ave. Needless to say, I got arrested. And the next morning, after pleading guilty to various felonies, the judge sent me to detox, a place that I didn't even know existed. And I went from there to a program in Medfield called Sharp, and that was my introduction to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I thought in the beginning was a very interesting little program. Just needed a few little minor adjustments to fit me being the little unique alcoholic and drug addict that I am. And I continued to do it with various degrees of success. I can tell you that after I relapsed after a little over a year, I tried to commit suicide. And the only thing I can tell you is the grace of God that I didn't die. I certainly thought I took enough alcohol and benzodiazepines in order to do it, but I didn't. And at some point, I ended up back in Norton and serious about staying sober. I ended up going to work for the program that I was in, North College, and went to Stonehill College and got my license to be a counselor, and had a baby daughter. And I would like to say, and we lived happily ever after, but I relapsed again. And it was partly drugs. I went back to cocaine, and the next 3 years, I locked myself up in Bridgewater 5 times. And 1989, that was 86. In 1989, I came back out to North Cottage because I wanted to become part of the solution rather than continue to be part of the problem. I mean, during those 3 years, there was a lot of time that I was sober. I just couldn't stay clean. There was drugs took me out, there was alcohol took me out, back and forth, round and round. About 2 years sober, I guess, and certainly the grace of God, the reason that I was sober, the importance of it came from a call from DSS, who was looking for a soft place for my daughter to land. And she landed with me, and she ended up staying. She went to Norton High, on the National Honor Society. She went to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, graduated magna cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa. And I have recovery to thank for it all. Being in recovery gave her the same address, the same telephone number, a parent who's there for every teacher conference, every sporting event, gave her the same group of friends, the opportunity to be all that she could be. This morning when I got on my knees and I said thank you for the shot at another day's sobriety, I acknowledge that gratitude every single morning that I wake up, and will until the day I die. Now I'm a therapist at North Cottage, and I had seen overdoses. I've seen overdoses my entire adult life, from being in the drug life to having been a therapist in a treatment facility. But when we came to, I'd lost my nephew. I lost my nephew after he was 2 years sober. He just made one poor decision to take some benzos and then regretted it, and then decided to do some heroin along with it, and that was the end. But when it comes to fentanyl, a few years ago, I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. All of the things that I thought I could share with my clients about how to protect themselves just didn't seem to work anymore. It seemed to be just a roll of the dice. And it wasn't even a case where you were in the life for a long, long time. It was happening to people just making a poor decision, just one small poor decision. And it was the last decision they got to make. I think that the acknowledgement and all I can say is the bravery of parents who have lost children to acknowledge what was going on has been so important, so critical in finally making everybody aware of just what a crisis we were having. And now we're in a pandemic. A friend of mine said, although we're in a pandemic, the epidemic is not over. The epidemic is going strong, and we need to continue to stay on point. And just thank God for Narcan. Narcan has given so many people just another chance to make a good decision. For my clients, I just want to give them the opportunity tomorrow and make another good decision. One of my closest friends lost her husband. My best friends that I scuba dive with lost their son. And I just don't want to see any more losses. It's just, and the drug is just so dangerous. The only thing I don't give up. My friends, I've had a friend that took a while to get sober, and he said to me, Doug, how long did it take you to get sober? And I said, well, it was more than 10, but less than 12 years. I'm not even sure what it was, but it was a slog, but it happened. And all you need is to wake up one morning and have the opportunity to say, that's all. I'm done. And I want everybody to have that opportunity. Thanks.
Stuck.
Lauren?
Good evening. I'm Lauren. I am a grateful recovering alcoholic, and I am here tonight for the very important cause of raising awareness about the disease of addiction. This is a very personal cause for me because I lost my brother to an overdose 5 years ago, and I myself am in recovery. My story is as much full of triumph as it is despair. If you hear anything from me tonight, I hope that it's a message of hope. On May 6th, 2015, my brother Alex was pronounced dead from a lethal dose of opiates. I'll never forget the feeling when the ER doctor came out and said that they'd tried everything, but he was gone. That was it. My brother was gone, and he was never coming back. My big brother my rival, my partner in crime, my hero. Alex was dead, and he was only 29 years old. He wasn't supposed to be dead. Alex was my only sibling, and we were very close. I miss him terribly still. At times, I still feel rudderless. I remember more than anything this overwhelming feeling that I was alone. I can't explain it because I was not alone. I still had both my parents, my husband, my children, yet this feeling was undeniable and it was profound. I felt alone. It was Alex's birthday just a couple of weeks ago, August 13th. He would have been 35. And I had that same thought that I had the night he died, that he shouldn't be dead. That is the power of addiction, though. Addiction is a non-discriminatory disease. It doesn't care who you are, where you come from, or where you're going. Nobody asks for it. It doesn't care what your plans are. I've seen this disease take hold of somebody and twist them until they're unrecognizable. The disease of addiction is chronic, progressive, and 100% fatal if not treated. Those three words, if not treated, that's where the hope comes in, because addiction is a 100% treatable disease. There is treatment available for those who are suffering from the disease of addiction, and treatment comes in many forms. There's help out there. There are people who have been where you are. There are people who have found a way up and out, and they will show you the ropes. If you're struggling with addiction, please reach out, speak up. I know it feels impossible, but I promise it's not. There's a better way to live, and you can have it. You deserve that. Give yourself that chance. And there are also resources for the loved ones of people suffering from addiction. This is a family disease in more than one way. As the loved ones of people with addiction, we have our own struggles. You're not alone either as a loved one, as somebody who cares about someone struggling with substance abuse. You're not alone. There are so many people out there right now who are being closely impacted by addiction, and there are resources. You're important too, and you need to take care of yourself. So please reach out. Today I'm able to take care of myself through my own program of recovery. I'm just shy of 18 months clean and sober from any and all mind-altering substances. I'm an active member of a 12-step fellowship. I have a relationship with a higher power today. I have a beautiful, loving family who can be proud to call me their daughter, their wife, their mother. I have friends who are also in recovery, who are incredible people. I firmly believe that alcoholics and addicts in recovery are some of the finest people who walk this earth. Granted, I'm a little biased, but I will, honestly, I will never know why my brother died and I got sober. A friend of mine says that those who get sober are the lucky ones. And I can identify with that, because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of work involved, but why me? I don't have that answer today, but I know that I do feel lucky, and I am a grateful person in recovery today. Please, if you or someone you care about needs help, reach out. If someone, speak up. It's never too early to do something. And as long as you're this side of the grass, it's not too late either. So in tribute to my brother Alex and all the other people whose names we're going to hear read aloud tonight, I want you to know that there is help, there is hope, and we do recover. If no one's told you that they love you today, I love you. Thank you for listening. I'll miss you, Alex. God bless.
Catherine? You? Hopefully the sound will come through. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Please tell me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I am strong when I think I'm weak, and you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, oh Lord. In you I find my identity. Oh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing, and you say I am strong when I think I'm weak, and you say I am held when I am falling short, and when I don't belong, God, you say I am yours. And I believe, yes, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have and I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God. You have every victory. Ooh, you say I am Lord.
believe, Lord, I believe what you say of me. I believe, I believe.
Thank you, Catherine. And now we will begin reading the names.
Max Adams, Elizabeth Ahern, Eric Alex, Michael Anderson, Ryan Aruda, Christy Barry, Timothy Barry, Jordan Baskin, Nicholas Bean, Michael Adam Bellavance, Bobby Belmont Jr., Jeff Bennett, Jessica Burnett, Carrie Jo Bertino, Michael Joseph Black, Bobby Michael Bloomstrom, Krita Boudreau Boulay, Ryan Bowden, John Bowman Sr., Jillian Boyden, Sean Boyle, Megan Bradley, Michael Brennan Jr., Ralph Brennan, Tyler Brock, Michael Broderis, Robert Broderis, Kaylee Burke, Ray Burrell, Robert Bloomstrom, Michael Kane, Richie Cannon, Arthur Carbone, Bryant Matthew Carter, Al Casino, Bree Santola, Derek Cerullo, Tyler Chamberlain, Richard G. Chirella, Robert Clay, John Clayton, Matthew Clayton, Matthew Coyne, Jeremiah Kumo, Polly Curran, Jason Curry, Jessica Lee Doddelin, Bobby Delaney, Matthew John DePari, Jillian Doherty, Cheryl Drummond, Michael Duca, John Dugan, Megan Duffy, Patrick Duffy, Patrick Dwyer.
Justin Ellis, Ryan Evers, Robbie Farquharson, Tim Feeney, Corey Fitzgerald, David Flory, Tim Foley, Courtney Ghana, Brian Doyle Galt, Ryan Gardulo, Brandon Gibbs, Stephen Gilmeister, Sean Gould, Jessica Grant, Patrick Graney, Evan Green, Ryan Thomas Hannon, Megan Haggerty, Joseph Francis Hall III, Michaela Hanscom, Michael Hocko, Bobby Hayden, Jeffrey Hayden, Russell Hayden, Lenny Hensis III, Christopher Hurley, David James, Michael Jessen, Stacy Johnson, Stanley Johnson, Anthony Kilmore, Ryan Patrick Lally, Ola, Josh Mahondir, Ray Nicasio, Kevin Long, Manny Lopes, Seamus Mason, Joseph Mayu Jr., John McClernon, Joseph Lee McClernon, Aaron McDonough, Clinton McDougall, Johnny Meadows, Joey Memo, Robert Mills, Daniel Joseph Mitchell, Michael Monahan, Danny Morrow.
Timothy Neese, Alicia Nelson, Brandon Newman, Corey Newland, Casey O'Brien, Mark Olson, Kayleen O'Malley, Mackenzie O'Malley, Lenny O'Toole, Alex Palmer, Kaylee Parker, David Parsons, Stanley Parsons, Lindsay Pellegrino, Wendy Petrella, Jonathan Petty, PJ Rakoskas, John Raleigh, Joseph Roach, Ian Roderick, Matthew Lester Rollins, Christopher Rosa, Will Sandvoss, Anthony Shea, Sarah Silva, Joseph Sinkowitz, Anton Silva, Pat Simpson, Dan Smith, Joshua Smith, Brian Swindell, Brendan Snow, Bill Stew, William T. Stewart III, Rob Stone, Elena Sostek, Ryan Taylor, Stephen Taylor, Austin Thompson, Maria Tucker, Adam Wade, Jeffrey Watt, Jamie Waldron, Jeff Winkus, Richie Whalen, John Woods, Kaylee Young.
Let us choose to recognize the value of our loved ones' lives by continuing to honor them in taking whatever role we can in fighting this terrible disease. Thank you so much, all of you, for participating tonight in our vigil. Your presence gives us all hope. Thank you and good night.